Welcome to TV47 Weekend Edition. My name is Linda Lela. We're meeting again, and I am entitled and glad to make sure that you know what is happening around you. That is in the world of news. Welcome on board. We have so much lined up for you, a comprehensive bulletin that takes a look at so much so, including that interesting feature by our very own Elizabeth Atieno that speaks about the people of Turkana, a place where there is so much heat, yet these people do not get to sweat. Just why? In a bit. Welcome on board. Tonight, detectives seal off Governor Kawira Mwangaza's Meru residence as probe into the gruesome murder of Daniel Muthiani, commonly known as Sniper, intensifies. Also, police are holding the suspect behind the murder of socialite Starlet Wahu as they try to piece together the motive behind the murder. And we shall tell you about a community in Turkana that is facing unique challenges.
We don't have skin breathing pulse completely.
Despite the high temperatures in the area, residents are unable to sweat. TV47 Weekend Edition begins right away. The hashtag, as always, TV47 Weekend Edition. My name is Linda Alela once again, and our sign language interpreter is Rhoda Nyamai. Now, in a significant turn of events regarding the death of blogger Daniel Muthiani, commonly known as Sniper, police have sealed off Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza's residence, designating it as a crime scene amid the ongoing investigations. Yesterday, investigators sought a 21-day extension, and that is from the court to conclude their inquiries into the case, which has garnered nationwide attention. Kisewe Emory with that.
In a swift response to the gruesome murder of blogger Daniel Muthiani, alias Sniper, detectives raided the home of Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza, designating it as a crime scene. Addressing the press, Lenny Kisaka, the coordinator of the Directorate of Criminal Investigation DCI, Eastern Region, revealed that the governor's residence is one of several crime scenes under investigation in connection with the brutal murder of the blogger.
We are conducting an investigation into a murder of one popularly known as Sniper, and we have been to various scenes. We've brought on board a forensic investigations team led by the Director of Homicide from DCI headquarters, comprises of different fields in the forensic science. And we've come here. Behind us, you can see that the residence of the Governor, Meru County, and it's just part of the many other places that the team is visiting.
Kisaka affirmed that investigations are ongoing to ensure justice for the slain blogger's family.
I want to assure you that the investigations are at a very advanced stage, and we believe that justice to that family will be very, very important to the nation of this country, to the nation called Kenya. So I want to assure the public that the investigations are very focused on the evidence that will lead us to a court of law.
This development comes a day after the arrest of 3 other people linked to the Meru governor over their alleged involvement in the blogger's death. According to investigators, the suspects are believed to have enticed the blogger into a meeting with Governor Kawira Mwangaza to reconcile and collaborate. The blogger reportedly went missing after the meeting in Meru town, and days later, his body was discovered in River Mutonga. The post-mortem examination revealed that Sniper died from strangulation. Yesterday, the deceased body was transferred to Mua Methodist Hospital mortuary to Kinoru Stadium in Meru town. Investigators announced that the burial would be delayed until the circumstances of his death are clarified. In the wake of the blogger's murder, the case has garnered national attention, prompting political leaders to urge detectives to expedite the arrest of the suspects. Kisewa Emory, TV47, Nairobi.
And police are now holding a middle-aged man on suspicions of murdering a 24-year-old woman, Starlet Wahu, in an Airbnb flat located in South B area here in Nairobi. The man was in the company of Wahu on the night of the murder, as indicated by CCTV evidence collected by investigative agencies. Wahu's lifeless body was discovered in the apartment with blood splatter all over the room. Micah Gungu with the details.
According to information from police sources, the lifeless body of the popular 24-year-old socialite starlet Wahu was discovered at an Airbnb in South B, Nairobi on Thursday. Reports indicate that Wahu had checked in on Wednesday night in the company of a man now identified as 34-year-old John Matara. Surveillance footage from the apartment complex captured Wahu and Matara entering the building's lift, disembarking on the 4th floor, and proceeding to the room they had apparently booked for the night. The following day, suspicions were raised when a security guard observed Matara leaving the property. In contrast to his arrival with Wahu just hours earlier, Matara now had blooded clothes and appeared to be injured in the leg. The security personnel promptly notified the police. Upon investigation, law enforcement discovered a used contraceptive, 2 HIV test kits, and a knife at the scene. The post-mortem report later revealed that Wahu had bled to death from a deep leg wound. Police accounts described the scene as chaotic and violent, suggesting a potential struggle between Wahu and her assailant. Matara, after leaving the scene, was eventually tracked down and taken into custody at a city hospital, where he was receiving treatment for wounds allegedly inflicted by Wahu. Matara claimed that he had been attacked by the deceased, resulting in a tragically fatal confrontation. Authorities are actively working to piece together the sequence of events leading up to horrific murder as they investigate the motive behind this tragic incident. Mike Kagwongo, TV47, Nairobi.
Tonight, Nairobi's Kettle House Bar and Grill is on the spot following a shisha raid that turned violent, resulting in multiple injuries for journalists accompanying police officers after they were stabbed. During the Friday night confrontation, journalists from different media outlets suffered serious injuries, with some of their equipment being damaged. The assault on journalists at Kettle House Bar and Grill on Friday night has attracted widespread condemnation throughout the country. The Kenya Union of Journalists, KUJ, has condemned the attack on its members, terming it as barbaric and unjustifiable. Paul Kirubi with that.
In a departure from the usual scene at this popular joint in Kilimani, Nairobi, chaos erupted during a routine operation to crack down on shisha smoking. The Kettle House Bar and Grill became the battleground for a clash between police officers and bouncers, with journalists also falling victim to the skirmish. The confrontation unfolded as soon as the police officers took their positions within the establishment. Bouncers inside the grill obstructed journalists from filming, leading to an altercation in which a camera person was assaulted and the equipment damaged. Attempts by the journalists to capture footage from inside the venue and exit were thwarted by bouncers who temporarily blocked their way. Outside the building, other journalists faced harassment from bouncers trying to prevent them from documenting the incident. During the melee, several journalists were physically assaulted, with some even stabbed from behind. Notably, journalist Boniface Okendo from Standard Media Group had his equipment destroyed. Additionally, Boniface Bugita, a photographer from the Daily Nation, and Jen Kibira from KBC sustained serious injuries during the chaos. Nakada head of enforcement Nicholas Koskei confirmed that a number of officers were also assaulted during the incident.
We managed to make an entry, and in the process, scaffolding ensued, whereby we managed to gain entry and netted several shisha bongs, and managed to arrest those operators and the ones who are causing fracas by roughing up the officers and the journalists.
Questions arose about the audacity of the perpetrators to confront both police officers and journalists. Reports suggest a possible connection between the joint and a prominent politician in Nairobi. Journalists whose equipment was destroyed recorded statements with the police officers in Kileleshwa around 2 p.m. The arrested culprits were taken to Jogoo Road Police Station, awaiting arraignment in court on Monday.
A family in Kibera, that is area in Nairobi, is in distress after their 9-year-old boy was swept away by the flood waters last night. And more than 12 hours later, the boy has not been found. This as residents urged the government to enhance its response to such disasters. Meanwhile, the weatherman says most parts of the country will witness increased rainfall in the upcoming week, as Sheila Chelagat tells us.
On Saturday morning, the aftermath of heavy rains in Nairobi County left many residents tallying their losses due to widespread destruction in the city. In Kibra area, specifically Mashimoni, a family is grappling with distress as their 9-year-old boy, known locally as Messi, was swept away by flood waters and is yet to be located. Residents say that the bridge in this area was completely flooded after the heavy rains, and after the downpour ceased, Messi was spotted standing on this rock.
Ilikuwa hapo tu, alikuwa juu, maji inampiga tu kidogo tu kwa miguu, lakini haikuwa inamfikia huku, hata hakuwa ananyeshewa. Hiyo maji yote alikuwa at least amekaa tu vizuri.
The boy, who was on his way to a friend's house when the incident occurred, slipped and was swept away by the raging waters after the rescue attempts proved futile.
Wao wakaweka kamba na wakafunga mwenye alikuwa kuja kumuokoa. Kufika kulingana na venye space yenye iko, angeweza ati asimame amfunge, akambeba tu na mgongo. Sasa after kumbeba, ingeweza kurudi sasa step 2-3. Wakaslide, unaona venye kunakaa. Na ungejua kama kuna shimo kubwa hivyo deep. Sababu mchanga inakuanga, lakini already ilikuwa kuwa imebebwa yote.
Search and rescue efforts continued near a nearby dam in the area, hoping to find Messi.
Kwa saa hii tumemtafuta bado tujimpata. Watu wa kupima wamekuja wametafuta, wamesema hapatikani. Sasa watu wa mikono tena ndio wameingia sasa kwa dam, wanajaribu kumtafuta lakini bado tujimpata.
According to the weatherman, more rain is expected in the coming week, with isolated heavy rainfall predicted in areas including the Central Highlands, Western Kenya, Southeastern Lowlands, South Rift Valley and the coast. According to the residents, Messi's case is not the first one, insisting on the need for proactive measures.
Haya, kuna mzee pia alienda na maji hapo the same place. The same place watu wanaendanga hapo. Serikali iwezi kuja hata ijenge kitu pale ya kunini hapo, ya kutengeneza hapo.
Residents of the flooded areas in the city, like here in Kibra, now want the government to provide a permanent solution, even as these heavy rains are predicted to persist. Sheila Chelangat for TV47 in Kibra, Nairobi.
Thanks, Sheila, for that. Now, leaders in the health service sector have strongly condemned the act of cruelty that occurred at Port Victoria Hospital in Budalangi constituency, Busia County. This as healthcare workers at the facility down their tools for the second day in protest over the harassment the staff was subjected to, as Valerie Moses details.
Addressing the press at the Busia Referral Hospital following a meeting with fellow healthcare service workers, Michael Nyongesa, the chairman of the Kenya Progressive Nurses Association, and Seth Panyako, the Secretary General of the Kenya National Union of Nurses, emphasized the need for nationwide respect towards healthcare professionals in their line of duty.
We demand that all those perpetrators who attacked, insulted, and assaulted healthcare workers who are on duty be brought to book. If not, we will ask all healthcare workers in the whole country to cease their work so that this is addressed.
Kenya cannot invest so much in healthcare workers, then some brats come here and mistreat them. We can't allow that. Kenyans are investing in these healthcare workers so that they can take care of the people of this country. Therefore, we have said there's no work going in Port Victoria until we are assured of the security of healthcare workers. And if that does not happen within the shortest time possible, we will withdraw all health workers in Busia County within a period of 48 hours if we don't see any action from the responsible arms of government.
This action follows a directive from the Minister of Health, Susan Humicha, who urged the Ministry of Internal Security to apprehend an individual caught on camera assaulting a healthcare officer. Visiting the hospital, Busia Deputy Governor and Minister for Health, Arthur Odera, asserted that the suspect should be pursued by the police and arrested. Odera criticized the assailant for showing disregard towards nurses and other healthcare workers.
We are working with the Budalangi police authorities and also the county police authorities to ensure that those individuals who have since been identified are apprehended and charged in a court of law, so that we learn to respect public workers. If there is a complaint, there is a method of lodging complaints. There is a civil way to register complaints, and as a county government and the Department of Health, we are very happy to receive genuine complaints, and we will deal with them as if they are feedback to us.
Valerie Moses, TV47, Nairobi.
Luanda residents in Vihiga County are living in fear following a surge in crime rates in the area. The most recent and alarming incident involving the brutal murder of 3 bodaboda operators whose bodies were discovered dumped in 2 separate locations in the outskirts of Luanda town. Luanda residents in Vihiga County are living in fear following the surging cases of insecurity plaguing the area.
Kusema kweli tutacheka nao. Hii pikipiki ambazo unasema wanaiba, pikipiki zinafuata njia ya Bondo, Usenge, zinaenda Uganda.
In response to the rising insecurity, residents have urged the county government and security agencies to enhance safety measures by installing additional security lights and taking effective actions to curb the growing menace. The situation has taken a grim turn with reports of 3 bodaboda riders discovered dead, their bodies gruesomely damaged and decomposing.
Tutaki mchezo maneno ya watoto kuuliwa ovyo ovyo. Watulinde. Tutaki kufunga kazi mapema. Pikipiki wakienda mapema sisi inabidi tuende na mguu. Kwa nini hivyo?
This alarming development has instilled fear among the residents, leading some to contemplate taking matters into their own hands if swift government intervention is not forthcoming. According to residents, the bodaboda riders were allegedly attacked, murdered, and their remains discarded in the outskirts of Luanda town.
A collective responsibility ya kuhakikisha kwamba hao wahalifu wamejulikana, kwa sababu ni mandugu zetu na hatutakubali watu wetu waendelee kuumizwa. Ni macho yetu yote iko kwa nyinyi, tuhakikishe ya kwamba stima imeingia hapa na security imewekwa ya kutosha.
While the police have initiated investigations into the matter, residents expressed a lack of confidence in the authorities, citing perceived negligence. In response to the community's distress, Luanda Member of Parliament Dick Maungu has organized an urgent meeting with residents to collectively address the issue of insecurity.
Lakini tungependa tuongeze maaskari ili wakuwe kutuchunga. Professor Kindiki anasema hivi kwamba tumekuona kule Bargoi unafukuza wale wanaiba ng'ombe. Tumekuona kule Samburu unafukuza wale wanaiba ng'ombe. Lakini Luanda kuna wale wanaua watu. Tungeomba kwamba kwa sasa urejeshe.
Maungu is calling on the Ministry of Interior to bolster security in the region, suggesting a reshuffle of security personnel and an increase in the number of officers as potential measures to address the mounting concerns. And over 3,000 people from Voi-Taita, Taveta County will spend the night in the cold following the demolition of their houses in Msambweni Street. The decision to demolish the houses transpired after residents faced legal challenges in a case against the landowner where their houses were constructed. The landowner, believed to be affiliated with the company Sparkle, carried out the demolition under the apparent protection of law enforcement officers. Julius Mariki with that.
The demolition has rendered thousands of residents in Msambweni area homeless, leaving them in a state of uncertainty.
Nini haya mambo yamefanyika, sisi hatujui, hatuna notice, na kama wakubwa viongozi wa Taveta walipewa hizo notice wakatufichia, wanatuambia eti tulale usingizi, baada usingizi ndio huu.
Tumeandika lawyer karibu 4, wote wanakula mapesa milioni na wakubwa pamoja ya Voi. Wanakula pesa, wamejaza pesa kwa mfuko, murundo ya mamilioni toka Mash. Ile watupilie kesi, ndio naona sisi tunaumia. Si mimi peke yangu, mamama ambao wako na kaburi ya babu zao, nina ushuhuda, nishaona kaburi za baba zao. wako hapa wanabomolewa nyumba zao.
This demolition has faced severe criticism from both citizens and leaders who have condemned it as a cruel action that violates human rights.
Hizi nyumba zimejengwa hapa ni zangu hapa. Alafu tena waje wanibomolee tena niondoke. Niende wapi? Niende kwa Mlungu? Safirura. Nimesangaa kabisa, mimi nimesangaa.
Leo saa 7 hii gavana alikuwa ameita viongozi wote wa Taita na Taveta tuzungumze swala hili. Tukashangaa kuwa kabla ya kwenda kukaa kulizungumza kumekuja magoons ambao wameandamana na polisi ili kuja kubomoa.
Kwa kweli mimi mambo haya huyaona kwa mbali. Leo nimeona ukatili wa hali ya juu.
Huu ni uwizi wa mashamba na unaingia katika historical land injustices. Kwamba watu wa Msambweni wamepokonywa shamba yao na huyu bwenyenye.
Taita Taveta County Governor Andrew Mwadime has voiced his disappointment with the demolition, expressing frustration as his efforts to prevent the destruction seem to have encountered obstacles.
Lakini leo ya asubuhi hii nimejaribu kupiga simu kila pembe, hata hao viongozi wetu ama maofisa wa serikali kuu wanafanya kazi hapa Taita na Taveta hawana haja na nyinyi. Maanake nimejaribu kuwapigia wote, hakuna yote anayepokea simu yangu kama gavana. So wananchi, ni tukio la maudhi sana. Ni tukio ambalo hata mimi limenikasirisha sana. Watu ambao ni maskini, hawana uwezo. Juzi tu umeona tumekuwa na mafuriko, wengi wakawa displaced. Sasa hiyo wanataka kusettle tena vile ndo masuala kama haya yametokezea.
Julius Mariki Mwakibo, TV47, Taita Taveta.
And from that to matters education, the National Treasury has disbursed 10 billion shillings as to the National Constituency Development Fund, allocating an equal share of 30 million to each constituency. This financial injection aims to kickstart bursaries allocation ahead of the upcoming school reopening that is on Monday. The chairperson of the CDF committee in Parliament, Musa Sirma, has announced that the first batch of funds has already been distributed. He further assured that by the end of the month, the remaining 20 billion shillings, equivalent to 40%, will be disbursed to constituencies. This move will facilitate the timely initiation of educational support programs and alleviate financial burdens on students as schools prepare to resume.
Aidi atatupatia pesa na pesa tumepata, so mambo ya basari yenyu itaendelea bila kusimama. Tumepata bilioni 10 ambaye itaanzisha kila constituency watakuwa na kama milioni 30, na kufikia mwisho wa mwezi huu tutakuwa tumepata hiyo 40%, which is equivalent to 20 billion shillings ambaye itakamilisha yale ambayo tunahitaji katika CDF.
Gatimayo village, Kiambu County, as 2 children lost their lives after drowning in an uncovered shallow well. According to witnesses, the incident occurred at a construction site where the poorly covered well posed a significant risk. The unfortunate incident happened while the children were on a firewood fetching errand, and they unknowingly came close to the hazardous well. Distressed neighbors have raised concerns about the perceived negligence of the estate developers who dug the wells and left them uncovered, creating potential dangers for the community. Area Chief Maina Mwangi has issued a notice to the estate manager emphasizing the need for immediate action.
7 years na 6 years ni watoto wachanga sana. Na nimesikia ni watoto hapa River Primary School na walikuwa wanapita kwenda kuchuna kuni. Juu hapa ndio kama kuchuna kuni. Sasa hapo ndio wakakuta wakapata maji. Mtoto mmoja akaslide akaanguka. Ule mwingine akienda kumshikilia wote wakaanguka. Na hapo ndo tumeweza kuluza hao watoto wawili.
Wameweka kuonyeshana wamechimba fence, wamechimba shimo na wameiacha tu hivyo. Na watu wamezoea kupita hapa. Hata ukipita wakiwa huku wakifanya kazi ya ulizangi mtu juu ni watu wamezoea kupita, na tuonyeshi wako under control. Sasa wanafanya vitu zao na wakatazi watu hadi watoto kuingia huku. Ningependa wachukuliwe hatua kali juu wanajua sheria za kujenga na wamesomea.
So ombi yetu kama wakaaji wa hapa Getamayo, haya mashimo waifunike kabisa. Juu sasa venye wamefanya hiyo watoto wakakufa, wamekata masomo yao. Mzazi alikuwa anatarajia watoto wake Monday wanarudi shuleni, lakini sasa hawatarudi. Tuko hata hakuna mwenye anajua kama kuna hayo mashimo. Juu tunasikia pia kuna ingine huko nyuma, lakini yenye hatujui iko wapi. Juu wanachimba lakini hawaeki sign ya kuonyesha hapa kuna shimo. Ndio mtu ajue pale kuna shimo, siwezi pitia hapo. Kama hakuna hiyo mambo ya kuonyeshana ati hapa kuna shimo, unaona tu mtu atakuja kama amepita vile amezoea.
Ushauri wangu kwa wafanyikazi ama wawekezaji wa Kiguza Farm, ningependa kuwaambia kwamba hapa wajue kuna watoto, na watoto hatuwezi tukawafunga wakose kutembea kwenye wanastahili kutembea. So ile kitu ningeomba ni waone kwamba wamefenzi ile mashimo yote ya maji, sababu nasikia kwamba ni maji wanatafuta ya kufanya perimeter wall. Wapate kufenzi hizo nini yote, hiyo mashimo yote, na isipo kama haitakuwa hivyo, niko haki kabisa tutahakikisha hiyo mashimo yote wameiziba.
Well, this is TV47 Sports News. Remember, you now have a chance to win amazing prizes like an all-expense-paid trip to Mombasa Beach Hotel, Buzi, airtime, cooking oil, bus fare, and other prizes with Radio 47 as well as ClickBet. To participate, you simply dial *448 hash. That is on your phone, and follow the prompts. And of course, simple way of saying thank you for always keeping it TV47. And to the fields, the highly anticipated Safari Tour Season 6 continues its thrilling journey, with the third leg scheduled to take place from 6th to 10th January 2024 at the prestigious Sigona Golf Club. This premier golfing event has garnered attention. 69 professionals and amateurs drawn from Namibia, Zambia, Uganda, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Tanzania, Malawi, and the host Kenya. The Safari Tour Season 6 third leg commenced with a Pro-Am event today, or Pro-AM, that is event today, setting the stage for a week of intense competition. The Pro-AM provides a unique opportunity for amateur golfers to play alongside seasoned professionals, fostering a sense of camaraderie, that is, and sportsmanship. The stakes are high, with a total prize money pool of 1 million Kenya shillings up for grabs. The ultimate champion will walk away with a substantial prize of 150,000 Kenyan shillings. This prize underscores the Safari Tour's commitment to rewarding excellence and showcasing the best of African golf talent. The top 8 players of the Safari Tour series will earn the opportunity to participate in the prestigious Magical Kenya Open that is scheduled to take place from the 22nd and the 25th February 2024. Dismas Indiza is currently on the lead with 122 points, followed by Daniel Duva with 99 points. And the Kenya Scrabble Federation has begun a series of qualifiers from Team Kenya to 2 major continental events to be held in March this year. Kenya will be represented both in the All-Africa Games in Ghana and the East, Central and Southern African Championship in Botswana in March. The first Scrabble tournament of the year 2024 was held today ahead of 2 continental championships that lead up to the Africa Championship to be held in October in Sierra Leone. A team of 6 Kenyan players each will be selected to represent Kenya in the All-Africa Games, that is in Ghana, and the East Central and Southern African Championship in Botswana. Both tournaments are being held in the month of March. Kenya was recognized for having the most robust players and will host next year's East and Central African Scramble Championship. More than 90 players competed in the first national event of the year, which started today in Nairobi.
Pangia hii tournament tangu tutoke Kisumu, which was in deck. Games are tough and yet exciting. Nana una learn something new every day in every game. Hata kama una lose zingine unapewa kichapo, bado una learn, una move on, na una push forward, unataka kushinda. No, siwezi kuwa 100% sure, lakini ni ku give it my all. Tuone penye nitatokea, hopefully nitakuwa top 5.
Especially in this division is a bit tough because we have a lot of experienced players, players who have played even in the premium division before. We find them in this division. And uzoefu wa mchezo, wale wako na uzoefu, we don't have like newcomers that wamekuja for this division. Most of them come from for this tournament. Probably this is like probably the 100th tournament. Yeah. So, but it is a tough one. Even as I sit here, I've already lost a game, but I'm hoping to catch on with those who are ahead of me.
For our first tournament of the year, we'll have more tournaments this year than any other year because we'll be having African games, East Central and Southern African games, and African Scrabble. So we'll have a total of 14 tournaments in the year. So this is our first tournament of the year. It's also a qualifier for African Scrabble Championship. And today also we had our AGM where we were deliberating on the modalities and criteria for selecting the team to African Games in Ghana in the month of March.
And from Scrabble and the Scrabblers, it is again that time that I remind you that you have a chance to win amazing prizes like an all-expense paid trip to Mombasa Beach Hotel, Mbuzi, airtime, cooking oil, bus fare, and other prizes with Radio 47 and ClickBet. To participate, you simply dial *448# on your phone and follow the prompts. You'll certainly be the winner. And as I started the bulletin, I told you that we have this interesting feature story compiled by our very own. It is now time that, of course, we get a chance to run that, but after this. We'll take a quick short break, and of course, we come back to this story, or we take it first. And come at the hour where we take a look at that beautiful feature that is compiled by our very own Elizabeth Artieno, certainly one that you want to watch. And that, can you imagine what life would be like if you could not sweat despite feeling too much heat in your body? Well, I'm sure many might think that this is a great idea since sweat to many is always considered as a nuisance. However, this story that revolves around more than about 40 members of the Ilimanyang community in Turkana County will show you just how much you should value your ability to sweat, especially now that the world is grappling with the adverse effects of climate change. This community cannot shed even a single drop of sweat despite the hot weather experienced in Turkana County. Affected by this rare condition and now presents to you a sweatless survival, a piece that I'll leave you to watch as I say kwaheri, looking forward to see you again tomorrow.
As the sun rays pierce through the earth's surface, it is a new dawn. And as is always the norm, many just can't wait to get through a new day. But that is not the case for the Ilimanyang community in Turkana County. To this community, as the flickering light of the sun illuminates, their worst nightmare sets in. This is a story of a community that cannot sweat despite the soaring temperatures of about 30.77 degrees Celsius witnessed in the vast county of Turkana. Turkana County is Kenya's largest county by land area, occupying about 77,000 square kilometers, which is equivalent to the countries of Rwanda, Burundi, and Gambia put together. The county is home to over 926,000 people and boasts of rich culture, from the elaborate clothing and adornment styles to their traditional songs and dance. To strangers, this harsh environment is inhospitable. The parched landscape, the scorching sun, baking heat, and dry sand blown by the strong winds paints a picture of the adverse impacts of climate change in this county. The wrath of Mother Nature in this arid land cuts deeper through the skin of members of the Ilimanyang community, whose peculiar story will shock you to the core. 58.2 kilometers from Lodwar town lies Kalokol Ward. The strong and durable nature of locals in this tough environment cannot be disregarded. In this homestead, we meet 7-year-old Peter Couture, who captures our attention. His physical appearance is unique. He has light, sparse brown hair, a flat nasal bridge, full everted lips, a dark pigmentation around the eyes, and lacks both the eyebrows and the eyelashes. His skin from the facial area all through to the lower limbs is extremely dry, to the extent that you can see some white patches. The discomfort is written all over Couture's face every passing minute. He has to quickly rush to this 20-liter jerrycan of water to sprinkle some water on his body. Within no time, his clothes are drenched in water. Couture is living with a rare genetic condition, making it impossible for him to sweat, and instead he has to regularly cool his body using water to regulate his temperature.
I always pour water on my body, and I always carry water from home to school using a small jerry can.
Sisi ile kitu inafanya tutoe jasho, we don't have skin breathing pulse completely. So unajua jasho inatoka na skin breathing pulse. Kama saa tu inatoka wapi? Sasa but sasa ile kitu wakati temperature inaenda juu, mwili huko ndani inajua kwamba inafaa kutoa jasho.
So unapata ukipata hii ngozi ya watu iko unaona kama imechomeka, inakaa kama iko na maalama. Si hii alama chenye inakosi alama ni vile hii wakati joto inakuwa juu sana, ngozi ina contrast. Na iko contrast hivyo inajaribu ku breathe out. Inakaa kama maragwe. Umeona vile maragwe inachemuka alafu maji ishi. Hiyo sasa ina behave inataka kutoa hiyo hewa nje. Sasa kwa hiyo harakati ya kutoa hiyo hewa nje ndio inachoma au hiyo ngozi. Nikitembea kwa jua na ngozi yangu inataka ku breathe, inajishika, yani inashikana hivi, inakuja pamoja. Inataka kutoa hiyo jasho lakini haitoi. Sasa kwa hiyo matundu inangangana kutoa ndio inaweka hizo maalama.
This is Couture's younger brother. He's only 5 months old, but he was also born with a condition. They inherited the condition from their mother. Couture needs to pour water on his body after every 10 to 15 minutes. However, his sister Mercy Ekwom tells us the biggest challenge is that water is a very scarce commodity, especially in this village.
Maji. Tunatoa maji mbali sana huku. Maji ni mbali sana. Asa utaweza kutumia hata 2 hours ukitembea kwa barabara, kurudi tena ni 2 hours.
Still in Kaloko Ward, we visit the humble home of Selina Apitet, a mother of 7. 5 of her children are living with the same condition. They cannot sweat. We find her in the company of her 2 children as she stares at the grave of her 9-year-old son who died in 2017. She tells us the deceased, who also had the condition, was on his way to get water to cool his body but collapsed and died on the spot as he was overpowered by the heat in his body. For now, Apitet has 4 children left, all with severe symptoms of the condition.
The main challenge is that my children pour water on themselves and we have a huge problem with water. I also can't leave my children alone, hence I'm forced to stay at home. My husband is just a fisherman. Some neighbors are good while others are not. Some do not allow my kids to play with their kids, fearing that they may acquire the condition.
In Kalokol, last financial year, we drilled actually 2 boreholes, and our intention again was to do a pipeline to where the storage tank is. And that was our intention again of improving water access in Kalokol. But again this year, our budget again is actually planned to put, we have actually planned 40 million again to improve the water access in Kalokol.
From Kalokol, this rough and dusty road leads us to the remote village of Kapua. Children are all over the place, rolling jerrycans of water on the rocky ground. This is enough evidence of the acute water shortage in this ward. We proceed to visit a homestead with 9 children, 6 of whom are living with the condition. We observe them having bread for lunch. It is crucial to highlight that those with this condition must consume their meals within an hour's interval. Failing to do so poses the risk of fainting or even death.
Ndio hao watu wakae for long. Hatari yao tu ni moja, ni jua na chakula. Unajua kama sasa kwa hii harsh environment, temperature iko very high. Hata hiyo enzymes yao kwa tumbo inaenda faster, so they need a lot of food to eat to maintain even their energy.
Meet 35-year-old Lomamtal Ngaukon. He is the eldest son in this family. He is among the 6 living with the condition. Lomamtal is fortunate enough to have made it to this age, considering that many others have died at a young age.
We the Ilmayang believe that it is God who created us. We cannot sweat. Water is our sweat. I am forced to carry this jerrycan of water wherever we go. If we don't, then we die. We don't have water here, so many a times we are forced to go all the way to the borehole, which is at least 6 kilometers away. For now, the drought is so severe, we go all the way to Lake Turkana. Our life is difficult under the scorching heat from the sun. We also do not have enough teeth. We cannot take part in strenuous activities as our body generates too much heat, which in turn endangers our lives. Previously, we were isolated from community meetings as we always had to pour water on our body. But with time, the community has been more accommodating to those of us who are affected. I want the government to solve the water problem, because water is life, without which we would lose our lives. We also want economic empowerment and of important access to education for our children. I also want to relocate to an environment where the weather is favorable.
We are the 6th generation in Turkana County. Our fathers died. The father of our fathers died. Saizi hapa utaona mtu mwenye ako hold kabisa hapa hivi, apart from women, but the condition is very harsh to men, all men, including my father who was affected. He died, including their brothers, all of them, they died.
18-year-old James Erot is now in grade 7. For now, he is at home as schools have been closed. He informs us that when he goes to school, he would rather forget his books but not his jerrycan of water. And he is normally forced to walk out of the classroom to sprinkle some water on his body.
Shida ambayo niko nayo ya kujimwagilia maji. Wakati jua inachomoza, au mwili inasikia joto, au naanza kujimwagilia maji. Nashika maji kwa mkebe. Shida ya nywele ni Mungu ndiye ameumba hivyo. Na maana Mungu ndiye aliumba hata hiyo. Akaweka hivyo ikiwa mbili hivyo.
Sasa unakula chakula aina gani?
Nakula chakula kama mchele na unga.
It is now 5 p.m. and Lomamtal's mother is preparing supper for her children. This is not an ordinary meal. She has to crush maize using these 2 special stones to form a smooth porridge-like paste which will make it easier for her children to consume, bearing in mind that they lack enough teeth and saliva needed to lubricate the meals.
The life of my children is really tough and it really pains my heart, but there's nothing I can do if it's God's will for now. I am grateful that my children are grown up. When they were young, I was very worried, especially if I was not at home. I was living in fear that they might miss water when they needed it. This stone is used to crush the maize. My children cannot chew the maize due to their weak and very few teeth. Hence, I crush it to make it soft enough.
Nancy Ebolon is also living with the condition, but she carries a story of success. Nancy has been able to study up to university level. Despite her being raised in the same harsh environment, she rose against all odds to the point that she secured an employment opportunity at the Turkana County Assembly.
So, kwa sababu mimi sikuwa na mtu wa kumshika mkono, kwa sababu sina watu wangu huko mbele. Jamii yetu yote ndio iko bado nyuma, hata kusoma bado ni shida. Hakuna mtu kombele, so that's why I went. Nikaangalia hiyo petition ya kuna ma petitions zilikuwa zinaandikwa hapo hivyo. Mimi na nikaangalia hizo petition, nikachukua moja, nikaenda nika copy paste, nika draft, then nika fix maneno yetu yote ndani. Baada ya kufix maneno yote ndani, I thank God kulikuwa na leaders ambao wanaweza sikiza mtu. Nikachukua lawyer, nikaenda mpaka kwa bunge. It was hard for them even to listen to me because that moment I was a very young girl. I was around 21 years. Na kutoka hapo hivyo nikakuja na committee mpaka hapa, tukaenda all over, tukaenda around na wakaconfirm yote. Na immediately walikuja wakapitisha na hasira kwa sababu waliona vile watu wanasuffer. In fact, they were suffering more.
Michael Lepe is the MCA for Kaloko Ward. He now expands on some of the bills presented before the Turkana County Assembly to benefit members of the Ilimanyang community.
Nilipata mpango ambayo ilikuwa na county government kwamba wamekuwa wakiwabajetia pesa ambazo ni za kuprovide hao chakula, na imekuwa ikipeanwa isipokuwa kuna wakati walikuwa wamenijulisha kwamba wamekuwa wakiletewa some hard foods like maize, wakasema wanafaa kubadilishiwa ile chakula. Besides that, walikuwa wanafaa kwa hiyo budget, kwa the same budget wanafaa kuprovidewa vitu kama kwa mfano uniforms, because kuna wale wanaenda shule. Na unajua ni watu ambaye hawawezi fanya kazi kama sisi wale watu wengine kwa sababu ya ile hali ya ngozi yao, kwa sababu haiwezi stahimili ile hali ya joto na jua.
But just what exactly is ailing members of this community? Dr. Gilchrist Lokoel is the Chief Officer for Medical Services in Turkana County and now gives us a medical explanation.
My analysis and experience of managing these individuals, they suffer from a rare genetical disorder called hypohidrotic ectodermal dysplasia. Hypohidrotic ectodermal dysplasia is actually a rare genetical disorder that affects several genes within the X chromosome. And the genes in mind are the EDA gene, EDAR gene, EDARADD gene. So they have fewer sweat glands or at times absent sweat glands. So you can imagine the entire heat of the body being trapped within yourself. And so this actually makes them most of the time to suffer from a medical condition called hypothermia. That is, the heat is raised. In children, they have fevers throughout. In adults, that is why they need to cool themselves in order to survive.
Over 17,000 people in the world are living with ectodermal dysplasia. Those living with the condition have a survival rate ranging from 88.7% to 97.6%.
And in terms of treatment or management, there is little or less that you can be able to do. For example, the issue of hypothermia. They are encouraged to put on cold vests. You know, in the developed world, such kind of things exist. But here, you just have to wet the vest, you have to wet the body in order to sort of cool them down. Rooms that have air conditioners is what is encouraged. And the other thing is just managed, you know, conservatively.
History has it that originally the population of the Ilimanyang community living in two villages of Kapua and Kalokol on Lake Turkana Island was only 99. Currently, the number stands at 47, 21 being children.
All of them, they are very bright. All of them. Hakuna hata mwenye unasema anakusumbua kwa shule ati mwenye anaperform na low marks hakuna. Alafu there is another thing about the positive side of these people. When they are exposed in harsh environment, wagonjwa kangi you cannot measure hata malaria. Huwezi. Yani joto iko juu, nini virus inaingia ina kill.
They are also amenable to dermatological conditions. For example, eczema. You know, upper respiratory tract infections, because even their mucous membranes, you know, they get affected. And therefore, also in terms of their immunity, the T lymphocytes, or those blood cells that normally help them to fight diseases, they are also low.
You may have also noticed that the symptoms are more severe in males than in females. Dr. Lokoel explains why this is the case.
Women, they have 2 X's in their chromosome, and usually it's only 1 X. And women don't use both X's. Usually the dominant X, you can have a dominant X that is okay. And therefore, even if the other one is the hypohidrotic ectodermal dysplasia is on this one, manifestations of it becomes nothing, none, or mild. But for men, that X chromosome that you have, see, XY, when it gets hit, then that's it.
Access to water is a huge challenge in Turkana County, with only approximately 40% of the Turkana population having access to clean water. This is not only due to the dry climate and worsening drought, but also inadequate water resource development and management.
We already have a partner who has indicated to us that they want to sink or rehabilitate 300 balls with regards to, in response to issues of climate change. And that will go into place of doing afforestation, and it's going to be a way of mitigation of the issues of climate change.
Our major issue here is salinity. We may drill the 60 balls or 30 balls, but in most cases, the water becomes saline.
We also spoke to Turkana Governor Jeremiah Lomorukai on the water scarcity issue, especially among the Ilimanyang community and Turkana County at large. He tells us that a budget of 40 million Kenya shillings has been set aside to address the water scarcity menace.
Kwa equalization fund tumeweka zaidi ya 186 million. Yote ukiweka tutakuwa na over 200 million ya kuweza kutengeneza maji ya local wherever we will get enough water, hata kama ni kwa river Takwel, tuhakikishe kwamba maji hayo yanakuwa channel mpaka local. So in the next few months or so, or even next year, we will have completed the issues of water for local people.
Tuko na kisima iko mahali inaitwa Nabuin. Nabuin is 3 kilometers from Kapua Center. Mahali penyao Ilimanyang wako. So ile proposal nilikuwa nimepeana kwa ministry ni kupipe ile maji. Ni kupipe na kuweka tank. So hiyo ndio kitu ambayo iko kwa plan. Tutafanya tu hiyo piping iende mpaka kwa hiyo kijiji ambayo hao watu wako.
According to the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, as of September 2023, over 30% cases of acute malnutrition were reported in Turkana South. Plans are also underway to supply relief food to those affected, while acknowledging the existence and hardship faced by members of the Ilimanyang community. Governor Lomorukai states that plans are underway to ensure the affected community receives food.
Tumeweka over 45 million ya kutengeneza drip irrigation scheme. And he visited na akaona vile inaendelea, vile hiyo drip imewekwa vizuri, na pia iko katika sehemu ya Kalimoro, ingine tunaweka Katilu, ingine tunaweka Ngalita, na kwa hii budget tumeweka tena zaidi ya 10 na kitu. Kwa sababu tunataka kupunguza mambo ya uhaba wa chakula katika county yetu ya Turkana. We have allocated over 200 million to support the issues of climate change. And then the national government is giving us a matching grant of, again, over 200 or 300 million. And we have identified land also for doing similar projects for climate change.
When the sun sets, the Ilimanyang community breathes a sigh of relief. For now, the only ray they can tolerate is that of hope that one day they can face the sun without any fear or pain. But even as they anxiously wait for a medical cure, they have largely embraced intermarriage as a preventive measure to secure their future generations.
This is the story of the Ilimanyang community, a community that has been greatly affected by the adverse impacts of climate change that have brought about extremely high